Good morning, everybody. I hope this video finds you well. Today, I want to talk about the aftermath of the Nancy Polaski visit to Taipei and how it has changed everything. For those of you who are clueless, you might think that China was bluffing. For those of you who are idiots, you might think that America is strong and showed who's the boss. For those of you with short attention spans, you might believe that the event is over and America won. No. It's only the beginning. I can't predict the future. I really can't. But long-term Metallic Man members and readers can attest to the fact that I have a very, very high accuracy reading. So far, many of the things I've said, especially the things that got me banned on social media platforms such as LinkedIn, Free Republic, Gab, and others, have all turned out to be absolutely true. Not that I'm beating my chest, but if you want to see me beat my chest, I'll do it. Here I am, beating my chest. I just beat my chest, saying how great I am. Isn't that impressive? Woo-woo. We've got a situation that has triggered an event sequence. Okay? An event sequence has been triggered, and the fallout from this is going to last years. In fact, you can say that everything is forever changed. Things are now forever changed. Okay? And what's changed, you may ask? Well, everything. What do you mean, everything? Oh, the American media won't change. That's going to stay the same. The American government won't change. That'll stay the same. But interactions with the global south, China, all that, that's all different now, guys. You all think you can live without China? You're going to find out. You're going to find out what it's like. So China doesn't make rubber duckies. So there's more to it, and it's very, very interesting. But before I kind of get into these aspects, I want to say a few words about some of the other stuff I've been watching. And basically, I've checked out the Duran, which is one of my top subscribing platforms. I've checked out Gonzalo Lira, also something I subscribe to, and Redacted. Those are my top three that I like to observe. And basically all of them pretty much agree that China now must invade Taiwan for one reason or the other. And they all seem to agree that China's not ready to do so because their carrier is not ready, or this isn't in place, or that isn't in place. And this kind of thought kind of angers me. China has been ready to invade Taiwan for the last 3 fucking decades. What makes you think that they're waiting for perfection now? What's going on right now is very, very simple. United States is pushing, it's going to be pushing harder now. United States views this as a win, so they're going to start pushing really hard. Red lines are going to be crossed. It's very important that China stops all this before it gets out of hand, because it is this close from getting out of hand. So China has a responsibility to resolve this issue quickly and soon. Not to mention, of course, that the Chinese people expect it to be done.
To your ear, you feel that sound? That's revolution you hear. Welcome to the greatest battle of all time. Just officially been targeted by our own kind. The time has arrived, now we're sounding the alarm. Hands up, grab your loved one, get everybody armed. Prime all the triggers and try to remain calm as we gather all the weapons and prepare the bomb. Now we got it on lockdown, we're ready to go. And on the radio, send it out, let everybody know. The threat is getting closer, the sky's turning gray. It's right on the horizon, today is the day. It was in the city limits, falling fast like a mist. Now we're gonna the apocalypse. Since the very beginning of mankind, in every generation, every era in time, there is always coming into what we must define. Who we are as a people, when we must cross the line. This is that moment, now you're gonna find exactly what you're really made of inside. When it comes right down to it, what you're gonna choose to proudly hold your ground and just lie down. Those brave at the front lines, ready for war. The enemy approaching outside the door. Dust off your voice box, time to be heard, and now's the game drop. So this bringing it. This is our world, our streets, our war, our lives. This is what we fight for, our choice to make the wrong things right with our voice. We bring day to the night. This is our world, our streets, our war, our lives. This is what we fight for, our choice. We're the voice of the globe. Turn up the volume so everybody knows this is our world. Ladies and gentlemen, and we please have your undivided attention as our feature guest speaker now takes the stage. Oddity now in this age, silence becomes violence when it's mixed with rage. Tragedies and death, they say it's all a phase. Society lying to me, it's on the front page. Homicide, genocide, can't run the streets. If you say it and you flag it, it's cold, you keep heat. I understand your plan, be strong, not weak. My gut feeling is this killer's gonna make us all Let's defy, not rely on negativity. We gotta make over, take over these communities. Analyze, capitalize opportunities. Speaking of change, ain't strange, it all starts with me and you. So what you gonna do? Close your eyes and climb till your life is through. You got work to do. We gonna start know how by saying these words right here, right now. This is our world, our streets, our war, our lives. This is what we fight for. Our choice to make the wrong things right with our voice. We bring day to the night. This is our world, our streets, our war, our lives. This is what we fight for. Our choice. We're the voice of the globe. Turn up the volume so everybody knows this is our world. Think one man don't make a difference, think again. Cause I just started an army picking up a pen. Let's begin a global collaboration to take the whole world and make for one nation. This ain't no imitation, what you're hearing is elite. That's why everything stops when you hear us speak. Oh, back to the mission at hand, we gotta play. Take the message that we're sending and spread it across the land. It's in black and white, it's been written, been read. Now let every single syllable settle into your head. The story resonates from your mind to your feet. We'll leave the earthquake from the top of their speed. If you're hearing this right now, the battle's been won. It's spreading, my friend, the takeover has begun. This is our world, our streets, our war, our lives. This is what we fight for. Our choice to make the wrong things right with our voice. We bring day to the night. This is our world, our streets, our war, our lives. This is what we fight for. Our choice. We're the voice of the globe. Turn up the volume so everybody knows. This is our world, our streets, our war, our lives. This is what we fight for. Our choice to make the wrong things right with our voice. We bring day to the night. This is our world, our streets, our war, our lives. This is what we fight for. Our choice. We're the voice of the globe. Turn up the volume so everybody knows. This is our world, our streets, our war, our lives. This is what we fight for. Our choice to make the wrong things right with our voice.
Nobody's talking about there, are they? Nobody's talking about what the Chinese people think. Instead, you hear stuff, they put Mike Pompano on, the pompous, arrogant, lying bastard who says, get this, Taiwan is an independent nation that's being invaded. It's not a nation. Taiwan is a region inside of China. It's not a nation. Nor is it independent. It's wholly dependent on imports and exports from the mainland. Get that through your fucking thick skull. It's a dependent region on mainland China. You fucking idiots. Jeez. Pisses me off sometimes. Do people wear shoes in America? I hear that if you repeat over and over that Americans hate wearing shoes, that you'll actually believe it. It's true. Say it over and over and over again, people start believing it. Big things going on right now in China. There's a pop song out of Vietnam that everybody's dancing to. That's a big thing that's going on right now in China.
Giây phút em gặp anh là em biết em si tình, tình 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 tang tang tình tang tình 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 tang tang tang. Giây phút em gặp anh là em biết em si tình, tình 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 toan toan tình mình tình tan 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 tình. Giây phút em gặp anh là em biết em si tình, tình 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 tang tang tình 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 tang tang tang. Giây phút em gặp anh là em biết em si tình, tình 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 toan toan tình mình tình tan 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 tình. Yeah, yeah. Anh tính sao sẽ biết thương. Giây phút em gặp anh là em biết em si tình, tình 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 tang tang tình 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 tang tang tang. Giây phút em gặp anh là em biết em si tình, tình 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 toan toan tình mình tình tan 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 tình.
completion of the third module to the space station. You won't hear that. You will hear about how the boosters fell to the ground. Yeah, of course, all boosters of rockets fall to the ground. Duh. So the module's up there and the tachronauts are over doing their thing. China can overwhelm Taiwan just in manpower. It's just going to be... I'm going to make a couple of predictions. I think that Taiwan is ready for a battle. But I'm also going to say something else. Many of Taiwanese consider them Chinese. First! Chinese first! Then Taiwanese. They're Han Chinese. That's like if you're in Texas, you consider yourself to be a Mexican of descent living in Texas, and then an American. But this kind of idea is beyond comprehension to many Americans. What's going to happen, I am anticipating China quick takeover, as bloodless as possible. If anybody's thinking it's going to be decade-long war with America just pulling a Ukraine, you got another thing coming. If you think America is going to step in, America doesn't have a fucking chance. Doesn't have a fucking chance. So forget all those crazy ideas. If you think that China is going to blockade Taiwan and prevent any imports and exports, that's probably a very realistic assessment of what's going to happen. How long that's going to last is unknown. But I can tell you one thing. Materials, supplies, and weapons are still pouring into Xi'an and the coastline. Nancy Polaski has left over 24 hours ago, but still this stuff is still flowing in there. What do you think they're going to do there? Put it on display for some parades? Is that what you're thinking? Guess so, given the caliber of people that watch American news lately. Literally, on Monday, I had to go to Shenzhen. It's a 2-hour drive from here. It's about the same distance from me from my new house to my office, a 2-hour drive over there. And I'll show you some videos here. You'll see all these videos I'm showing you is from Shenzhen. There's this idea that Chinese cities are dark and gloomy places and gray. And it's a narrative that's really well circulated. You know, if you were to look at all the videos of Beijing, it's always taken during the seasonal sandstorms. It's never taken during the beautiful days that are like 80% of the time. It's always during a sandstorm. That's like always showing a picture of the White House when it's raining. You know? Never had a beautiful day. It always has to be raining. I'm kind of going all over the place. I want to focus a little bit. So people, all these talking heads are saying this and saying that. The fact of the matter is nobody knows what's really going on, including me. But I can tell you that the mood inside of China is enough is enough. Stop this nonsense and stop it now. That is your responsibility as a government to do it now. We're tired of it. Stop it. It's like this irritating fly. Get it out of here. That's the attitude in China. And they're not complaining about the government. They just expect the government to do its job. For those of you who are aware that everybody in China gets military training, it starts on first grade, you'll be well aware and advised to know that all the classes are doing weekend exercises. Spirit of the times, I suppose, right? of this nonsense I'm reading, Hal Turner saying that air raid sirens are on Guangzhou. I'm in Guangzhou. There's no air raid sirens. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. I really don't. It seems bizarre to me. Now I'm watching Gonzalo Lira's channel, and he had a round table with, it's a 4-people round table. One of the people in there sounds like a beta guy. I don't know who the hell it was. They're talking about how Nancy Polaski is doing this under Biden's direction. And he's like, no. She's doing it on her own. She's doing it on her own because of political blah, 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 blah. And he starts going on this long litany about American politics. And I'm going, Jesus fucking H. Christ, this is geopolitics. It's not American politics. So I got a message here for all of you morons, and I'm calling you morons because you have to be, if you think that Nancy Polaski is on her own. Okay. Nancy Polaski flew in Air Force One, or is it Air Force Two? She flew in one of the administrative jets, accompanied with an Air Squadron wing, okay? With naval support. Did Nancy Polaski order up the plane? Did she order up the air support? Did she order up the aircraft carrier? No. There's only one person in the world that can authorize use of Air Force One, 2. That's President Biden. If he didn't want her to go, he'd say, go on your own dime, on your own aircraft. And they're going, yeah, but she has a security detail. She has a security detail. She doesn't have a fucking air wing. Now, for those of you who are idiots, there's a difference between a security guard with a little earpiece and a gun and an F-16 fighter wing with pilots. There's a difference. Do I need to explain to you the difference between the two? Because it seems to me, after watching all this insanity in the Western news, that you need to have some things explained to you. Okay? There's a difference. Do you know how big a fighter aircraft is? Do you know? Is it the size of a Toyota? Is it the size of a truck? Is it the size of a house? How big is a fighter aircraft? Tell me! Do you know? See, this is the kind of stuff that irritates me. Americans have been so dumbed down. Do you know the thickness of 1 millimeter? 1 millimeter. Tell me something that's 1 millimeter thick. Do you know? It's a dime. When I get interns, I always ask them, what's the thickness of 1 millimeter? And they're like, oh, I don't know. You know, a stack of papers. The size of a can of Coke. It's like, how fucking stupid are you people? Jeez. I'm sorry. I get angry and I start yelling at people. People, you don't want to hear me yell. You want me to sit there and talk, calmly about the situation. Meanwhile, everybody's lying their fucking asses off. Don't know what the hell. They don't know their mouth from their asshole sometimes. I swear to God. And they're saying, well, Nancy Polaski is doing this on her own. Look at me. Am I an idiot? I'll tell you one thing. The Chinese know that she is doing this under orders of Biden. Okay? So whether or not you're right, or they're right, or they're right, or they're wrong, doesn't matter. It's what the Chinese think. And the Chinese believe that Biden has ordered this. They also believe that this idea of strategic ambiguity is just a fancy word for lying to your face. Strategic ambiguity means lie to them to their face and do whatever the fuck you want. There's nothing ambiguous about it. Nancy Polaski writes this letter afterwards, and talks about this, and She says, well, we're still affirming the one China policy and blah, 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 blah. It's like, you're trying to rub salt in China's face? China doesn't play, guys. And if you think they're bluffing, you are a fucking idiot. They're not.
我们出事了，他又把我们出卖的，我跟阿勋都待不住了，要出去避避。这个混蛋，他人呢？跑了，不见踪影。不过他只穿了一条裤衩，身上什么都没带。只要他一露面，马上把他给我干掉。我知道，浩哥，你放心吧。
从小都对着迷彩的军营充满了向往，看着电视机里的飞虎、雪豹或凤凰，曾梦见身披戎装保卫祖国，手握钢枪，流着华夏的血，怎会任由敌人？
Everything manufactured. Look around you. See all the things that are manufactured. Things you just can't grow. Things that are manufactured. Look around you. All these things that are manufactured, they're all manufactured by China. And if they're manufactured from Mexico, well, you can guarantee that they're manufactured from sub-assemblies coming from China. Mexico, by the way, is an assembly house. It's not a manufacturing facility. Now, I'm going to have to explain this to you because so many Americans have been dumbed down to not know the difference between an assembly house and a manufacturing facility. Do you know the difference? A manufacturing facility is where you take a rock and you make it into steel or aluminum and you form it into shapes. And you attach plastic to it. And you build it into a device that makes something. That's a manufacturing facility. While an assembly house is somebody who takes assemblies from a factory and puts them together and bolts them together. That's an assembly house. Most of the factories that exist or remain in the United States are assembly houses. They assemble things from components. Your computer breaks down and you go take it to a technician. Does the technician take a soldering iron and unsolder things? No. They get on their cell phone and call up and get a new board ordered and they replace the entire damn board. It's an assembly operation. Your car breaks down. A part and a gizmo's dysfunctional. Does the repair shop make a new one from an injection molded part and then put a spring inside and test it? No. They order a part out of a catalog on the phone and then they install that part. And that part comes from China, by the way. American ignorance is going to cause American deaths. I really hate to see people suffer. I hate to see people die. But you know what? At this stage of the game, I'm really getting tired of trying to tell people that 1 + 1 = 2 and not 6.5 if it's Sunday. If you catch my drift. Do you remember mad cow disease? Don't eat hamburgers or else you won't even be able to turn on your computer. Do you remember the dangers of 3G, how they would cause gas station pumps to explode? Or the dangers of 4G causing brain radiation? Do you remember about Y2K and how all of a sudden your toaster is going to start attacking you? Seems funny right now, doesn't it? Seems so silly right now, doesn't it? Seems like you must have been a fool to believe that, doesn't it? So you're thinking that China is bluffing. Just another foolish thought in a long train of foolish thoughts. Again, I don't know what's going to happen. But I do know that there are two very serious nations in this world. Actually, there's a couple of them. There's more than just two. Israel's a serious nation. Russia's a serious nation. Serious nations, guys. And China is a very serious nation. Once a decision is made to do something, they do it, and they do it ruthlessly. Ruthlessly. I got a comment, guy saying, well, America's got 6,000 nuclear bombs and China doesn't have a chance in hell. That's one of those typical butterfly. You have a butterfly, you release it to the air and it flies back to you, it loves you. Kind of nonsensical bullshit. Nuclear weapons, having a lot of them, mean nothing if you don't have the means to deploy them. It's like a guy, he's got 50 guns. Some of them are shotguns, some of them's machine guns, some of them's pistols. He's got all these guns. And all these different kinds of things that are all hanging up inside his basement, and he just sits there. I can fight anybody, nobody dares deals with me. And then he goes to the grocery store to pick up a 6-pack of beer, but he doesn't have a gun on him and he's robbed. All those guns mean nothing to him because he doesn't have them on him. He's not using them. And if he did have a gun, he has one gun, not 50. All this weaponry that America has means nothing if it can't be delivered on site. If you were really smart, you'd look into how these systems are delivered. They're precise tactical nukes designed for precision strikes. And China and Russia have the ability to decloak them and shoot them down. But I gotta explain to you guys, the Chinese attitude is if it's going to go to fight with the United States, it destroys the United States. And then all these ships and stuff that are sailing around can then do their best to try to attack China. China does not play the same games that America plays. It doesn't want to play the same games, and it will not play the same games. If you think it will, well, then you're a fool.
Since we have nothing more to say, let machine guns and cannons talk for us. Gentlemen.
谈判석에서 얻을 수 없는 것을 전장에서 얻을 거란 생각은 절대로 하지도 마.
用不了多长时间，你们还是会回到谈判桌。到时候你们一定会自觉地收回这个厚颜无耻的方案。
洋人抗击，今年能在战场上。
here I am, I'm calling everybody idiots and fools and all kinds of stuff just because I read some angering bullshit on the American news. But you know, look, you just move your hefty elephant-sized legs on top of your little four-wheeled little go-kart and go over and get yourself a six-pack of Super Diet Coke and then ride on back and sit in front of the computer and bang out your opinions. Go ahead. Be a typical American. I'm offering you, I'm telling you what's going on. What's going on here is you have just awoken a dragon. Not a cute teddy bear, a dragon. And it's a large dragon. It's a huge dragon. It's got very shiny, sharp claw dragon. And my guess, knowing what I know of China, you'll just wake up and life will be different. That's how China works. And with this in mind, I want to explain a little bit. Have you ever watched Chinese historical dramas? You ever know anything about China? How China beat the living shit out of the United States in the Korean War? I mean, literally, I mean bludgeoned the fucking shit. America was beaten to a goddamn pulp. All those missiles, all that destruction didn't do jack shit. MacArthur fucking destroyed America. American forces couldn't do it with all their supporting allies. Have you ever seen a Chinese?
Message coming out of China is getting louder by the day. It doesn't like other countries, especially Australia, ganging up and meddling in its affairs. As we know, Beijing is currently doing its best to punish us economically, but in the last few days, President Xi Jinping has also ratcheted up the rhetoric by warning of the perils of a new Cold War. A loose translation is, if we don't stop poking the panda, we'll face serious consequences. Now, it's worth taking that threat seriously because Xi controls the largest military force in the world, and as one of his supporters cautions tonight, the cost of conflict with China could be Armageddon. It's a prospect as terrifying as it is unthinkable. A military showdown between two nuclear-armed superpowers, the United States and China. A conflict that could reshape the world order. Is Australia vulnerable at the moment?
Australia is monstrously vulnerable at the moment. We have this naive faith that American military power is infinite, and it's not.
Tonight, leading minds on the looming war with China.
It's going to be waged on an economic front. It's going to be waged on a social affairs front. They're going to come at us all ways.
How likely is it? How prepared are we? And at what cost for us and the world?
Use all your imagination. Think about all the nightmares you can think of. And what will happen will be 10 times more than your worst nightmare. You are talking about the possibility of Armageddon.
And if you don't like what I have to say, then you leave. Say, I can't control this out of control train wreck. I can't control it. I can't control it. So you leave. But if you don't leave, that means that you accept it. You accept the shit that you're sitting in. That's the reality. And now that I've completely angered all of you, and I'll probably be banned from YouTube, c'est la vie, c'est la guerre. Be the best you can be. Cuddle up with some kitty cats. Spend some money and get yourself a good, delicious meal. I recommend steak. Spend some time with people you love. Things are going to get testy this autumn and into the winter. I do not, and I am glad I'm not in the United States right now. And at that, take care.
对世界对自我失望过，回避过放弃过遗憾过，现在的我不想再闪躲，就算有人笑我做梦，我想不上来会被选中，不会向命运低头，我知道我有种希望如果心底现在被触碰，还能有冲动，如果后悔未来又要去怪谁才不同，就算没有成功也好过面对到最后，都不喜欢的我，执着的理由我还没听够，若一无所有向前走，有苦衷不说，只相信应有，燃烧心底最深角落，冲破，对世界对自我失望过，回避过放弃过遗憾过，现在的我不想再闪躲，若白头比懦弱光荣，多少人生来就被选中，但他们不懂得奋斗，我知道我有种不灭的火种，日眼前一切冷漠的狂风，就算苦等永恒，总有天冰雪消融。苍老一抬起头，用力看看这宇宙，星空下平凡的你会选择怎样活？我要你回头，要你自由，要你冲破牢笼，不怕痛，不认怂，不甘平庸 ，nothing in my world is impossible。敢不敢鼓起奋勇 ，say come on， 就跟我走。对世界对自我失望过，回避过放弃过遗憾过。